Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing? Back on, gonna be watching the 13th? Might have put the wrong day then. But nevertheless, hope you guys are good and get ready for another loser's bracket. Another loser's bracket today. We have two battles. We have the let me just restart. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Azagai here. I'm going to be bringing you the 13th day of the Asia Division CBL tournament. I'm going to be bringing the CBL 2022 winter tournament for the Asia Division, and we are going to be seeing this is day 13. And we're going to be seeing two battles to decide who moves across to the semifinals in the losers bracket. Hello, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Up first should be BPJT versus ING. Following that, we have GNG versus BZZW. Hopefully, we get the pick ban phase shortly. I am actually going to take a quick toilet break. Be right back very, very shortly. Hopefully you guys are interested in the pick ban phase. Oh, I am back. Sorry about that. Just a quick toilet break, and we are we're roaring right into the pick ban phase. What have I missed? Okay, so ING bans out. Sorry. First go for the maps. Bans out Hidden City for ING and bans Heilung Fjord for BPJT. Double pick for Harbour City. So a double Harbour City attack, pretty expected from basically most teams. Love the Harbour City map. I'm guessing here, well, I'm going to go through. ING bans out the Chevaliers, then the Zyklien Militia, and then finally the Daggerank Lancers, picking the Shenji Grenadiers as the safe pick. BPJT bans out the Halberdiers and the Samatrian Stalwart, safe picking the Matalator and not picking a third ban. Interesting to take out two major units. Taking out the Halberdier unit, very, very important. We have established that taking out the Halberdier unit as a kind of puts a restriction on the setup for how a triple tier 4 will work out. It becomes extraordinarily more stressful to set up a triple tier 4 than it is to do a double tier 4 and then clutch it with the Halberdier, keeping with a couple of surf units. So this will make certain tier 4s unavailable, you could still go for a pretty jacked tier 4 lineup, but again, that those that are in the 235, because I would guess that if you go with Halberdier Sergeants, which are 230, and Fort of Russia, which is 235, those that are the remainder is actually not very spectacular. So it's very unfortunate. Sorry, that is a very strategic pick to take out that halberdier. BPJT probably going to go heavier with the double tier fives. Double tier fives in this case should be able to beat out a triple tier four, or those that will are available, but nevertheless, we're going to have to see how each team does. Double tier 5s have not normally been able to gain enough value by themselves, normally supplemented by other players wielding the tier 4 units. And hello, um, Cadesy? Hmm. I don't know how I keep saying that. I don't know if I say it the same time every time, but morning. Are you ready for the ING versus BPJT here in the losers bracket? We just got through the pick ban phase with around about 6 minutes until the start of the first battle. But what do you guys think? I think it's going to be very interesting to see I'm going to say how they're going to use that range unit that they have picked. ING loves the Shenji. Definitely got a very powerful grenade. Gets them up front get them up front, right next to the front line, and that's where muskets should be. Um, it's going to be very telling to see if ING can really capitalize on getting really close to BPJT. And I'm wondering whether or not BPJT will be able to lay down that metallic door fire. Again, when the unit density gets really tight, a good old volley of cannons will break them up real fast. If not, they just die. They take a lot of damage from direct hits and still quite a bit of damage from explosion. You roughly take around about half the amount of damage from a direct hit rather from an explosion. I mean from a partial hit from ah. So to explain, the metallic door only hits 2 units directly. By the looks of it, it's only 2 units directly. And then when it hits the second unit, it will explode, dealing damage to those around it. I believe the person that is also directly hit takes double damage. So, not double damage, but takes the direct hit and the explosion damage. So they get hit really hard. But regardless, if the metallic door just hitting very few units, it's actually not that painful. So being in a dispersed formation actually is really effective at surviving the metallic door onslaught. But when you group up together and they start hitting directly inside your formation and breaking it apart, that's where you get the most damage, and that's from the explosion hitting everyone or multiple units, and that damage stacks up really fast. Their individual shots are actually not that painful, and the Shenji probably racks up more damage with single hits than the Metallictors do. Well, at least faster at that. The grenade is still a very powerful tool, probably equal to, if not better, than the Metallitor's single-shot cannons. The grenade has a wider area of effect, I would believe, but a much, much, much lower damage. But being able to throw it on demand, I think the Metallitor's does require a few seconds of setup. The Shenji Grenadiers, however, do not require a massive setup, but they have a wind-up for the grenades. It only takes a few seconds. In comparison to the affected area, the Metallictors have a limitation of the 10 or 12 cannonballs firing through, while the Shenjis have a nice spread, and they really hit everything. It feels like they hit everything. I've seen entire formations collapse because they get hit by Shenji Grenadiers. And those grenades, in the whole scheme of things, are extraordinarily potent. Hello, Desolda. Desold? Jolta? The Jolta. Da. Da 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 da. We're waiting here for the battle to start. I think it's about 1 minute before the official start of the before the official start. Gonna have to see if there's any delays. Hmm. Are you guys excited for ING versus BPJT? What are you guys' picks for ING versus BPJT? I do think that it'll be an interesting match, but I thoroughly believe that BPJT has the upper hand. Although I have to also say that the effectiveness of the Chevalier Sally might be a little bit too weighted here. So maybe that's an outlier. Ah, picking the BPJT as well. I do think BPJT probably has a bit of a stronger performance, especially against CNC. Well, what makes you say that, Obi-Wan Kenobi? Why do you think BPJT can't sally out anymore? A sally out is a massive risk, but not every team is able to, well, how to say, protect themselves from a sally out. A good sally out is still very effective. Indeed, I think the ban on the shield units is more important than banning out any of the polearm units. Oh, never mind. Good point. ING did ban out Chevaliers, and it's not a bad ban, thinking about it. I wouldn't do a sally out if Chevaliers are banned, so you are correct. I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that. I kind of missed that. Just went over my head. Oh, yes, definitely. Chevaliers are just way too powerful in a sally out scenario because you dwarf the enemy in terms of numbers by having basically two units at once. It's not that they're too bad, it's just that they're not flexible. One of the things that you have to realize is you need a cavalry unit that is effective against other to be effective against anti-cavalry units, which are the polearm units, which are naturally weak to range. So Liaos themselves are not very range specialists. They have a little bit of range, but not spectacular. They can shoot a little bit, but they primarily you just go in and whack stuff. Nevertheless, we do get the first battle. Here we go. Lots of muskets coming up from BPJT, kind of expected defending, but unfortunately we don't get to see a special sally out before. Again, the mention of the ban for the Chevaliers. Quite a few picks for the Winged Hussars. We have about 4 Winged Hussars, 2 Liao Rangers, and a double tier 5 setup mostly for BPJT while trying to get that triple and that prefecture archers. Again, prefecture archers are probably picked for suppression and definitely adds on that little bit of range. Although the longbows, the alchemists, and the Shenji, all very interesting picks. We also have the metallic doors coming out from ING. No Siphonarioids, which, nope, there is one for BPJT though. Could be extraordinarily powerful on the wall. Surprising that don't see any don't see many Royal Janus, not Royal Janus, sorry, Silidars anymore. Um, is still surprising to see Varangian guards, though. I do expect Varangian guards to be a little bit weaker now, since it's just harder to their combo is very backloaded into the Shatter Shield. Very difficult to get that off for since you have to wait 4 seconds before triggering it. Starting off with an instant treb onto the naturals. It is quite important to get those free arty down as soon as possible. Every shot is free value, and not using the your own arty means that you can get more free value out faster. So you really want to get onto those cannons, really want to get onto all of those naturals and fire them at least once. Try your best. And does look like we might see a good old hold. Again, we see this many, many, many times. Go through the small gate, sets up a ballista, uh, shoot the units on the stairs. This is kind of just a bleeding tactic. It's fairly effective, but at the same time, I think the skirmishing aspect is quite weak. Um, you really don't have very many options with the skirmishing when it comes to the beginning part of the siege. It's really hard to tell whether or not this ballista will be in an actual good spot. It looks like it's trying to. They place it in a spot where it's going to be protected and away from the muskets. Wonder if they shoot through the beams though. Trebbing the artillery is very effective, especially for the first part, since it's difficult to get up onto the wall to destroy them yourselves, and probably a bit wasteful to use artillery. So using those trebs, a very powerful tool, but could be ineffective in the second part, and definitely quite a hit and miss for the last part. You really see the Treb only be super effective during the beginning parts or the wall of the siege. Hi Zid1, and yes, you are late. Don't worry, we've just begun. Nothing drastic has happened so far. I'm not sure what happened to that ballista there, but it does look like they are pulling out. And ING also had a jewel blade inside. Not sure what he achieved, but we have a pretty stock standard. We have a pretty stock standard start from both of them. BPJT doing a wonderful job at suppressing the towers, keeping their protecting the wall, and making sure ING doesn't get up. But it will be pretty telling, since what is interesting is ING has preserved a lot of their artillery so far, only placing down about 4, placing a couple more, but the suppression on the wall is not exactly super dedicated. There is only a little crumbs and pieces spread across the wall. I guess they are committed to allowing BPJT to get that little bit. Who has more double tier 4? I think ING has more tier 4s than BPJT. BPJT goes about 50-50 with the tier 5 and the tier 4, while ING goes around about one third tier 5s and 2/3 tier 4. So you got a lot. So you got a big difference when it comes for like leadership allocation. And so you have the well, I mean, you can't see it in the numbers, but I'll assure you that ING does have more tier 4s available for them than BPJT. Probably more units in general. The difference in units is probably somewhere around 3 or 4, probably up to 5 whole units of high tier units. So tier 3 and above. But nevertheless, you got some pretty cheap tier 3s as well. I did see an Alchemist pick. Wonder where they're going to be deployed. The small gate does seem to be under attack, or there's just a person standing above it, and it just looks like they're getting attacked. You can save yourselves a lot of hassle by just letting up the middle siege tower. I keep saying this, and it's just, you really shouldn't destroy the middle siege tower. Letting one siege tower up on the wall is not really much of a threat to you. And it does look like cavalry is being deployed. Might be a breakthrough through the front gate. Going to be a bit interesting to see what happens. Letting the A point go. I think BPJT is kind of being overly. Not sure. I think this is going to be a pretty big bait here. ING and BPJT don't need to engage. I'd have no idea where ING is going or what they're trying to achieve. They have an entire force inside here. The only thing that they could truly go for is that supply point and big volley coming out from the Falconettis, coming out from the BPJT side. Although it probably didn't kill anything, that definitely got to hurt. We also have the longbowmen here ready to shoot them if they, whoop, they get shot as well. So a little bit of back and forth with the range fire. Probably barely reaching them. Getting to the top of the stairs is probably a better angle as the units get pushed back by a couple of volleys, one after the other. Now, ING is kind of cycling through their units, but I'm definitely unsure what they're trying to achieve. An attack here onto these stairs is not going to turn out the way you think it will. Going through the first street, it will be a hard U-turn in order to get up that stairs, and breaking through to the other side of the to the other stairs on the left-hand side. Well, not on the top. It's not going to be a good play. I'm not sure what they can do. The suppression from BPJT does seem like it makes it difficult enough, just enough for ING to be struggling at deciding what to do. Though they finally make a move all the way to that supply point, I would have honestly moved towards that supply point much earlier. Well, yeah, I do have to agree. A mix-up, more troops available means more chances. And Wing Desar gets halfway through that front line. Mm, oh, but a shot of the Medalator should break it into pieces. A Armiger now coming through as the line completely breaks and the troops funnel through. But here comes the cavalry coming up from BPJT, breaking the medals as best they can. But here comes reinforcements from the Forte Braccio, and the Monastic Knights get stuck in it. getting hit very quickly. Down they go. Now ING is in a pickle, losing out pretty hefty with that assault right now, and a massive difference. As you can see, about 160 unit difference just now with that exchange. Pretty nasty, I do have to say. Looking pretty favored for BPJT now, just a little bit. I think that exchange there allowed them to offset the natural number advantage that a lower tier lineup would give them. I do think that ING is a strong team, but right now BPJT has a little bit more to give, as this walk up the siege tower is going to end up in failure. And I don't probably need to see the battle. Once you got that setup like that, no matter what's coming through, they're taking tons of damage. So even if they do eventually break through, you're looking at plenty of losses. Be unwise to go down, but here comes some Palace Guards. Palace Guards are not spectacular. Now, they are tough to kill, and that 40% damage reduction makes them very, very, very easy units for them to clobber out a lot of the polearm units. BPJT is doing a really good job at not only suppressing the supply point, but still keeping that wall. I honestly think ING giving up pushing the siege towers was a bad call. You really want to increase the number of avenues you have into attacking. It's never really a good idea to only have one avenue to attack. And as you can see, this siege tower is the basic death sentence. No matter what's coming up through this, how to say, siege tower, it's all going to end up in death, and ING is going to take a massive L. Pretty sure this is just a massacre for the last 2 minutes, but at least they're giving it their all. This Fort Braccio slowly moving up could be a good difference. The Fort Braccio is not exactly tanky enough to survive the shots. Both sides are shooting each other, but as you can see, the Medals stand strong as those Fort Braccios just disappear. Don't want to get down as they're getting pushed down by the infantry as cavalry is already roaming the streets, roaming the grassland, and killing off a lot of the heroes. Spawning in with the halberdiers takes out quite a bit of cavalry, in fact. Not sure if the halberdier is still alive. Definitely taken out quite a few, about half a unit dead, probably more than half of a unit dead. A bit of a Fortebraccio mix in there. Not sure how big, but the close combat should make it very difficult for the Fortebraccios to establish themselves. I'll probably go to bed early today. I should have taken a nap, actually. BPJT is just on a manhunt now for the final few minutes. Well, final minute. So it looks like a very hard attack for ING. I do think ING performance here was extraordinarily lacking. They could not achieve, well, whatever their goal. I'm pretty sure they were unable to achieve it. I think they either needed to continuously put more pressure on the attackers, or at least find a way to pressure them. Mm, I'm still gonna have to put it down to the fact that B BPJT has a better track record to beat CNC. Not you have to definitely show a lot. And oh my god, Dilly Gav, it took me forever. I just realized you just subbed. I'm sorry, Dilly. I love you, Dilly. Dilly. Oh, he's gone. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He subbed, and it's just like I didn't notice him. No. Yeah, no. I don't think anyone can beat CNC. The only person, like, the problem is that BPJT kind of abused the tactic of sellout with a unit that I think were overperforming in a sellout situation. If we're talking about a hard time, BPJT didn't seem to give CNC that much of a hard time, considering CNC's defense, that is. But again, back to track record, BPJT still probably has the strongest, or at least the best performance against CNC that I've seen as of late. It's hard to say whether or not YYY will have anywhere near the performance of CNC, or at least there's no indicators to determine that, because it's very difficult to find a team that is close to CNC, or there's just very few teams that would be on CNC's level. I'm chalking it down to that maybe I don't know YYY enough to say that they could challenge CNC. I don't believe that they can. Have I have I seen have I seen anything from YYY that would tell me otherwise? Not really. Not really. Insider info. YYY is not confident against CNC. Why would you? Insider information, I would just be like, anyone thinks that they can take on CNC is talking out their ass. Because it's just I'm putting CNC on a pedestal. I am. I truly am. And I do not regret it. Because it is, honestly, a very difficult task to beat CNC. Because YYY commanders are from CM's winning team. CM's winning team. Does that mean... Okay, hang on. Even if the commander is from the winning team, there is a difference between strategy, but there's also a difference between players. A good example of this is, I love to say, ECL. ECL has some of the most simplistic or very heavy-handed strategies, but their players are able to make up for it. To say that there is not very many advantages in ECL strategy, or to say they're not using it to the best of, like, they're not taking advantage of the strategy, but more to say they're relying on the skills of their players to make up for it. So it's kind of hard to say. It's like individually they're very very good players, but as a team they don't make use of the team to win. Funny thing about CNC strat is that people know what CNC is going to do, but it is just hard to counter. And that's also hilarious, because it's always just been that kind of thing. CNC, you can know you can, like, CNC could tell you themselves what they're going to do. But the problem is that even if you know what CNC is going to do, their tactics, their decision making, or their team play in that moment is so much stronger than other teams that it's a unstoppable force. They will ram right through you with a force that feels like it's unbreakable. You have the only time CNC has technically lost a push is when the defending side has been able to just respawn more units and just drown out CNC. And this is very important because that's extraordinarily costly. Every single time, even if you pushed out CNC in that scenario, you have lost so many units. CNC's next push literally kills off everything else. People just can't win against CNC until a time where CNC really struggles to win a straight on fight. Then, and only then, will I believe that a team has a shot at defeating CNC. And that's really telling whether or not you can beat CNC in a straight on fight. CNC has taken a lot of bad fights before, but they have won spectacularly. A good question. How can you? Who? Good question. It it's mind-boggling. How could you you CNC is a formation of elite players. Not only elite players, their team play is on another level. Like literally on another level. They are so confident in individual players that when they team play together, it just makes it just goes to another level. And this is where it's a little bit different for OISU. OISU has very good team play, but it relies on particular strategies. Individually, the players are actually not that good. And I realize this now. I mean, like OISU is kind of like my favorite team to watch, but the the team play that comes out from CNC is very close knitted, while the team play out from Oisu is very strategic minded, meaning that they are open, much more open. So they are easy to break down one side, but they try to bleed out the enemy. So it's more of an attrition tactic than it is a kind of like a formation tactic, where CNC's formation is designed to just win the fight straight on. Oh yeah, I mean, I don't doubt that CNC plays a lot. An experienced player is, again, a very good. It normally has a lot of knowledge. Experience is something that you earn by learning more about the game, by pushing yourselves. CNC has probably pushed themselves to the limit of CB, and and I've said this before, unless someone beats CNC, CNC is the limit, and that CNC should it is the top of CB, and that we should expect that the only people who would beat CNC are those who would break those limits and head into that new level. But there is no distinction for that. And that's what's really hard. When when the distinction for that level cannot be determined from the players or the strategy, it becomes a bit blurry, very blurry. So I didn't get to see very much of the units minded. So gonna have to kind of put it here that BPJT still going in with kind of tier 5 heavy setup, while the defenders here, ING, going in with a little bit more tier 4, if I recall correctly. You could correct me if I'm wrong. Does look like a little bit of a favor for unit numbers in favor of BPJT here. Well, again, to get to a level of 13k, not only would you have to basically start in season 0 or the beta, you would have also needed to play every single day, 8 hours a day with premium on until this today. I myself is only about 4,900. You would have to double my playtime. You would have to double my playtime, or at least double my performance in order to get to even 10k. And I played for 50,000. I mean, I played for 5,000 hours. Over 3 years now, coming up to 3 years. This will be my third year, and man, that is an insane amount. That's like 5,000. That's like 5,000 hours a year. Nevertheless, BPJT does take out the right-hand siege tower, the left-hand siege tower, and the middle siege tower, getting dangerously close. Could be a massive mistake of letting that left-hand siege tower up on the wall, but it is a hair's breadth of health, that middle siege tower, and it does go down. But that left-hand siege tower could be a massive miss if it does go up. Ooh. Will it latch? It does! Ooh, baby, that is a big old missy. BPJT does seem to have spotted out ING here, placing the culverins in the far, far back. Could see just to treb that formation. Surprised that they wouldn't. I'm surprised that they don't go onto the culverins. Why not destroy the culverins? They treb the unit, but leave the culverins. The culverin's still there. Okay, ING does back off, but it's a wonder what they're doing. BPJT, I mean, ING is really stupid for letting those culverins just, like, the culverins are still there. They're not destroyed yet. And BPJT is being really silly because the culverins are not destroyed yet. Both sides are making a blunder, but in the head of things, BPJT is again taking advantage that the fact that they've just basically made ING forget about two culverins for one treb, mind you. They did sacrifice a treb. So yes, it does look like the tier fours from the defending ING is stacked really heavily, having a lot of tier fours rather than tier fives, while BPJT kind of goes 50-50, almost exactly 50. I mean, that looked like 50-50 exact for tier 5, tier 4s. Could be a little bit scuffed on the numbers there because of different unit sizes and things. I really think a lot of the small units should really get an increase in size. Most likely because, well, I mean, like mostly because of just issues. I feel where it's just a real struggle to have units that have really small sizes. Units that really struggle because of their small sizes are Iron Reapers and Varangians. Both suffer heavily because of their small sizes, but at the same time, they're very overloaded. Surprise, surprise to see that ING gives up the wall after a very, very light defense. They still have 5 artillery left, and I'm actually kind of worried Normally, I mean, not normally, but it does look like there's a little bit of a trend for the siege towers to get up regardless at around about 8 minutes in a kind of scenario where the defenders don't defend the wall. Even with a light defense, you only made up you only made up around about 2 minutes. And ING, again, probably buying time here. They will make it very difficult. They'll um but the setup here is, how to say, reliant on ING taking multiple fights and bleeding out BPJT. So mortaring has begun. The house is doing a very good job protecting them. I do think you can angle the mortars to be very close to that, how to say, wall. As you can see, the halberdiers take a big old hit. I would have moved them already. After taking that big hit, that means you really need to either get even closer or move. Protect getting get going to the lower house is probably the smarter move. It's slightly further away, and it's in a better position to protect you from some of these high ones that are the reason why they're getting through. A little bit of a loss, I would say. Not too many, but still a little bit of a loss. You don't really want to give BPJT any value at all from this mortaring. Not to mention, you have to survive like 13 or 11 shots from a mortar, more than enough to kill an entire unit, and definitely can move on to maybe multiple units, depending on how you stack. I mean, the explosion damage alone, 4 sets of explosion damage would kill an entire unit dead. Longsword probably there to keep them healed up. Considering that BPJT does have a double tier 5 setup, they are in their right mind of trying to bleed out the enemy as much as possible. So it's actually quite ingenious that the defender actually having more units is actually beneficial to bleed out the artillery difference. Does look like one member from BPJT did DC. Yes, Dad? Oh. A quick heal. I would have just swapped units out. Oh man, those halberdiers taking shot after shot. Again, also the border brushers here also take massive hits. That Falconetti is also almost dead. Big swing towards the left-hand supply point. Might swing back actually. The push is not working out too well. It's a bit slow on the approach. ING might catch them. This corner here. Whoop! Here comes a reversal. Going back towards the other supply point. ING hasn't caught on just yet. They're about to miss it. Getting outpaced right now by cavalry, but neck and neck. After. Going straight into the supply point right now, and ING only has a few units there. BPJT makes it to the supply point first and breaks through with a wing to star charge. Right now, Claymore's getting delayed by Palace guards. A two-way struggle. Oh no, the Medals actually do not go for the engagement, but in this scenario, massive charge by a Liao Rangers getting completely stopped by, I'm not even entirely sure. It looked like mostly shield units. The Medals were further back. charge in the back by the Monastic Knights gets stopped by Winged Hussars. It does look like a couple of switch units got picked up, and it is a slaughter. BPJT is roaring right through that counter attack, and the respawn's got to come in very, very fast. Otherwise, the cavalry is going to make it there from BPJT first. Very bad move, and pretty much a big loss for ING. Weaker units on average, and definitely not going to be able to push them wholesale out immediately. Oh man, Liao Rangers comes in, cleans up a Shield Maiden very fast, but right now they have to get through a Halberdier, which eats them for lunch here. Surprisingly, Claymores comes in and cleans them up as well. Claymores are very tough, but it's not a unit that deals a lot of damage. It's going to be very difficult as more stabilizing units are rocking up for the BPJT. Let's see how long this attrition battle can last for. Fortebraccio moves in, but it's not in formation, and it gets directly eaten by cavalry and their Myrmillones. Oh, I did not see the Medaus rock up there from the side. And very good flank. And complete shutout by BPJT. The momentum was just unstoppable. ING takes the L and loses the second battle swift and decisively. This is going to come down to... Huh. Wait. Can you remind me what happened in the first battle? Who won? I've now forgotten the first battle. I'm pretty sure it was a defense hold. Meaning BPJT won. Won both times. Right. So, that's it. That's it for the first one. I honestly thought that ING might have put a better performance in. Apparently not. Apparently not. I think in this case, ING made a big mistake switching back to that supply point once they moved, and also they were slow to react. Hi, Mesme. Yeah, not entirely the best plays from ING, and definitely not really formulating a very good strategy. No, that's unfortunate. I did hear. I actually didn't. I actually didn't hear that the champions were Quinn. I didn't even realize that the name for the CM champions were Quinn. Well, that's it. No, they're kicked out. They don't have any more battles after this. That was their last shot. Actually, no. YYY is still in it. Or wait, hang on. YYY is from LA. Of course it is. Well, it's from Asia. I thought YYY might have been from China mainland, but I have gotten that wrong before. I said it before that YYY was China mainland, but it's actually not. He's actually from Asia, the Asia division. They got in through the Asia division, and it's just I keep messing that up because YYY is not a name that I'm familiar with. Main house is in JC. What house did they combine with from LA? Ace and TKT. Really? The Knights Templar. TKT was a really good team. Ace, not so much. TKT, definitely a really good team. Ace, not so much. At one point, didn't TKT and THT? Oh, they had two teams. They had the Knights Templars and the Knights Hospitallers. They submitted two teams one time. I think it was during the summer one, and they had two teams. The Knights Hospitallers and the Knights Templars were actually both really strong teams. I don't think they both made it though. Well, anyway, I do think we're gonna go for about a 5 minute break. Hopefully, we get to come back to an exciting battle between GNG and BZZW. I think GNG has the leg up on the BZZW. From what I've seen, they do have some weird strategies that happen to work out, and BZZW not really a spectacular performance, or at least not from what I've seen. BZZW also had um, a pretty boring track record for my taste. They're not. It's like a lot of times it's just like the teams that go up against BZZW just uh, feels like they're just being really stupid, and like BZZW just doing very well. So I wish them both the luck. But I'll catch you guys in around about 6 or 5 minutes. So be right back. Go JC if you want to conquer a lot with less pressure. Nah, no way, man. LA's also boring as fuck, man. I'll tell you right now. It's boring everywhere. Absolutely boring everywhere. Whew! I missed out on a little bit here. Holy cow, man. What is this? That must be a bug. That's so bugged. BZZW bans out Kuruk Castle and then picks it. What a bug. What a bug. Server merges, do you think? It doesn't matter. Like, there is no point for fighting. You merge the servers, those that end up fighting will hate it. Will hate fighting eventually. People will say, "Oh, there's not enough land. Everyone's declaring, everyone's slot blocking each other." The problem is in a crowded spot, in a crowded place, no one no one gets to do anything, even if they want to. But in a place with not enough people, no one does anything. People should you want people to fight, but if the people don't want to fight, you can't do anything, and that's very important. They have to remake TW. Important thing here: remake TW. Have AI factions and have fights and have fights with X number of places depending on how big the factions are. You have to you have to make the fights happen first of all. Second of all, you need to have the both sides of the faction have people fighting. You can't have one side fully stacked and the other side just have like 5 people. Yeah, two ally like you just end up like a small house just going like, "Oh my god, I want to join TW." All of a sudden you touch this house that has like 15 pieces of land. All of a sudden 13 different houses declare war on you. Mind-boggling, isn't it? It just goes to show how it just goes to show with the current setup, you can't trust players to create their own content because it's stupid. Like honestly, you would think players you no, never trust players to create their own content because they're just going to abuse it so that they do the least work for the most rewards. And again, most of it's just diplomacy. Most of it's just ass kissing. Everyone wants just the rewards without the work because it's tedious to fight and no one cares. I actually sent them a proposal about my idea in TW. It's too hard for them to change the game system. I'm asking for CBL rules in TW with 20 player battles, 15v15, 3 times die, you replace the Q player, and if you run out of numbers, you just lose. Maybe. Well, I don't know. They could change the rules for TW. I think that's one thing that they could play around with, but depending on how they do it, it will be very indeterminate. I think I think a rule should be made that reinforcements is on a timer or there is a longer delay for respawns for both sides. So if someone dies, it takes 60 seconds for a person to replace it. Something like that. Making it more difficult to. Or they have a set number of instant respawns, and if they chew through all of their respawns, it'll take 60 seconds until the next respawn happens. Anyway, we have BZZW bans out Kuruk Castle and GNG bans out Harbour City with Hailung Fjord picks for both sides. That is Hailung Fjord for both GNG and BZZW. GNG then bans out Murmilones and goes for Stalwart and why? Get, get back to the back ban! No, it's not just easy. Ah, God. One of the most important things is that if you make it CBL rules and you restrict the number of people that can join the battle, then man, there's a lot of things that will be harder to pull off. So one of the most important things is that if you lock in the number of players for TW, you end up you end up with a scenario where pursuits are useless for attackers and defenders because most of the time pursuits are extraordinarily effective to just to cut down the enemy numbers before they can even enter battle. But that tactic becomes utterly useless in your suggestion of making it CBL rules. So you're disconnecting a a not a crucial part, but a part of TW, and by sacrificing that, you divorce it further away from the current DW we have now. Every system that they have ever introduced always favors bigger numbers. I've said this before. There is no way. Oh my god. Back to the Pigman. There is no way. There is no way to cater to smaller houses unless you just flat out restrict everyone. And that's even difficult. That's even more difficult. And it will still just be the smallest denomination. Finally, we're back to the pick ban. And oh my goodness. Safe pick on the Halberdiers, ban on the Halberdier Sergeants. We have Chevaliers, Metallators, and the Zycalian Militia banned for BZZW with a safe pick on the Medal Battalion. So this is very telling. I think GNG is going to go for a Tier 4 heavy lineup. Safe picking that Halberdier means that Halberdier is the fodder. I mean, that is the kind of clutch pick that really allows you to be more flexible with your Tier 4 picks. But the Medal Battalion pick coming out from BZZW is really tells us that they're going to go for more tier 5s because the Medal Battalion is probably their go-to unit for both infantry and cavalry. And I said this before that Medal Battalions needs a buff. I hate their passive. It's just really shit. It's backloaded so much that most of the time they just get blasted right through. So I'm quite interested to see the battle on Hailung Fjord. There's been a lot of battles on Hailung Fjords, probably second to the battles on Harbor Cities. But on Hailung Fjord, the battles have been very exciting. And this has to do with how everyone seems to have slightly different defense strategies and attack strategies when here on Heilong Fjord. It's a little bit more of an open map when it comes to the first the A and the B point, because you can use that cavalry. Much more harder for the C point, but for the base point, again, free zone, open for cavalry. So I really, really like Heilong Fjord because we get a little bit more diverse setups, but we get a bigger set of funneling, which is a lot of people just go straight through the front gate. There is one point we Asian players asking them to merge servers and then make this map small, but some players still disagree because they cannot farm arty and they love to no action in war. My suggestion for TW is per entry have max 20 to 25 people, and that is it. 15 fight first, 5 to 10 mustering, and that is it. Well, no, Obi-Wan Kenobi, that just makes no sense because because it should just be flat out. You just have 25 people then. It's the same thing. Instead of having mustering at all, you just have the set number of people defending and a set number of people attacking. But that is stupid. That is stupid at the same time, because not only do you not churn through the greatest amount of people, the participation rate will be very, very low. What I mean by that is, in a single battle, or most of the time, more than 150 players, or, I mean, like, again, the same players will cycle through maybe 4 or 5 times. You're you're burning through people really fast during TW sometimes. To restrict that number, may as well just make it a straight up siege. And when I say a straight up siege, have a siege, infinite and instant unit instant unit heals and respawns, meaning that if you die, your units all heal, but the timer on your death timer increases. So every time you die, your units might heal, but your death timer will increase, and that just keeps getting longer and longer and longer. There is no point in having mustering in the case where you're just expecting 25 people to come through. That's just dumb, because if you have mustering at all, it needs to be uncapped, because it's just silly to have a set number of mustering, because it will still put focus on the first 15. And by the time you burn through all of the mustering on both sides, you're going to get down to a point where it's just either there's too little people to actually attack because the AI will just keep spawning. So the defenders just get more advantage in this case, because attackers always have a disadvantage in terms of just the AI respawn, and the defenders will just more than likely just kill more attackers than attackers can kill defenders. That's the most common case. So I expected a little bit more tier 5s coming out from BZZW. Did look like someone DC'd inside the loading screen. This is why you should always set your warbands. Unexpectedly, G&G doesn't even bring a tier 3. I'm shocked, absolutely shocked, that G&G actually brings no halberdiers. No halberdiers. What is this? What is this? And that's whack. Absolutely whack. They've thrown many at games, but I don't think they're throwing this one since it's not all cavalry. Actually, that was a different person, but I mean, like, We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. All right, we got 5 people up on the B side. We have 10 people here on the A side. Does look like we're going to get a standard approach. Break down the front walls. Uh, break down the walls. Break down the doors, front gates, and stuff. It's going to be quite interesting. What the hell? GNG's longsword kind of climbing the wall by jumping on it somehow. I'm surprised no longbows. Or short bows. To be honest, lately I have just every single time on High Long Fjord there are 5 longbow defenders, and they just annihilate me. And when I mean annihilate me, I get hit in the head 3 times and I'm dead. I am dead after 3 hits to the head. And I'm playing a light armor thing, so maybe it's a little bit more difficult here. Yeah, on CBL, since the damage limits will probably push it down to like 5 hits or something. So it'll be more difficult to kill. But I'm still surprised that the light armor classes here in CBL is just rarely used, or if ever used. But oh, there's a longbow there. Um, but a lot of the medium and the heavy armor classes are always used in CBL. It just shows that, like, naturally the strength of the heavy armor classes and the medium armor classes are just really good. But when we come to the weapon and stuff, sometimes the light armor classes and the medium armor classes just kind of go crazy. Medium armor classes in particular kind of go crazy when they have extra damage stacks. I didn't see, actually. I did not see if those were Vipers. We'll have to see when they come out. But that's okay. So, the weirdest thing to me is that G&G safe picks the halberdiers, but didn't bring any. That is so weird to me. Like, what was your plan? Not to bring your safe pick? Were you trying to bait the enemy? But it's a safe pick, which is very powerful. And even your enemy might use it against you. I would. Halberdiers are very powerful. They're falling. Okay, so they tried to do a bait towards the front gate, now going through the broken wall. Going in for the fight here. G&G getting stopped, slowly getting pushed on from all sides, from 3 sides, in fact. We got Shield Maidens there on the left-hand side, Medal's there at the front, and we have Halberdiers coming in from the side here. Oh man, that is some mighty pressure for G&G to break through, and slowly the pressure is not working. They're not breaking through. I'm pretty sure that they're losing way more. Get back to the main fight. I mean, I get it that they just slaughter a palace guard, but we don't. But the main fight's still ongoing, and it looks like a clean sweep for BZZW. Again, no, it's still fighting. Actually, it's not even ended. Now it's ended. But I mean, still, it would have been much more interesting than watching a completely one-sided fight there. And then again, I would also say it's completely one-sided. Is this a good pickup? I don't know, because honestly, the number I'm counting the number of units sacrificed, and G&G is catching a little bit more and more units. So I think G&G actually might be up, and by the looks of it, they are. This Shield Maiden is still trapped on the inside. So it looks like there was more even trade happening through the broken wall next to A, and the catches currently at B and currently happening at A is also a big pickup. So I think right now G&G is actually up, which is actually very surprising because I thought BZZW did a really good job on that broken wall hold. Um, the bad thing is that a lot of units getting caught out, so a lot of stragglers. Yeah, if they can hit. Both sides are tier 5 heavy. So GNG has more tier 5s, but heavy loss for, like, it's 50-50 for BZZW. GNG's more like 60-40. Um, but nonetheless, it's quite difficult to say whether or not BZZW has equal or even. I mean, at this point, I'm pretty sure BZZW lost way more than GNG just then, which is really annoying because that wall hold should have been really good. And trebbing your own farmers, again, it was a bait, so it would have been very effective. At least they tried to hold the C point with something. Normally, just standing there can scare off an attacker, and GNG takes no shit for that. So they just go straight up, baits with the farmers, trebs instantly, secures the front, and moves in. Now going to go for that harbor. Got a couple of berserkers. Really going to go in with the artillery. I think. G&G is like dominating right now, and I think this has to do with the pace that they set from the beginning. Really, I was really surprised that BZZW's defense was not complete. Somehow, or rather, they weren't able to continue fighting, or they chose not to, and ended up retreating. But you lost so many units in that retreat that the retreat was basically a debacle, and you lost more crap than you would have if you just defended and pushed GNG out. Or I mean, like, in that scenario, I would at least push GNG out from the B side and swing to the C through the B side, or I would have swung back into the A side after getting back to the B side, because the defenders want to fight at the hard points, and the hard points are A and the B point. This supply point is completely unnecessary for GNG. GNG doesn't need to be here. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't see a point why standing here or going through this thing again with the retreat. Why? You were standing there for so long. You lose. Okay, maybe a sacrifice for like a half-ass claymores um and a village watchman. But okay, I can understand that a little bit. Wastes a little bit of arty. Really good actually. But man, sometimes if your retreat was that clean for the A and the B point, I wouldn't be questioning your moves right now. And I don't mind that move. That move was actually really good. They essentially got like um maybe 5, maybe 6 arties out of GNG there. But the difficult thing here is now you're gonna get Treb to smithereens. They still only have 4 Trebs left. You're gonna have to just survive that. You're right up against the avenues that they need to get to go in. And this is a good spot. Actually, it's a good spot because Trebs are very difficult to actually hit this section. Only problem is that the Shenji is. I'm pretty sure if they set up Shenji on top of that ledge there, throw bombs into it. So you're gonna have to make sure you shut down that Shenji real fast because Okay, there's a lot more halberdiers, so maybe they brought more halberdiers than I thought they did. Oh wait, no. This is BBCZW. So BCZW chose a lot of halberdiers, but why did GNG choose a lot of halberdiers? There goes the Shenji grenade. The entire formation just breaks down, but no charge comes out, so that's very unfortunate. When the Shenji grenade comes through, I expect a massive charge to come through. Now a sort of push comes through, breaking down. The shield maidens doing an amazing job at blocking damage and punching through, and the Medaus with the Forbracios cleaving the center of that pile. Another grenade comes through, finishes off that rest of that formation, and cutting, absolutely cutting right through this formation. This Forbracio is in F1 formation. It is not dense enough to stop all of these Daggerak Lancers as they come rounding round the corner. And here comes a cavalry charge out from BZZW. Can they manage to sweep up the enemy? I doubt it. We have four Medaus set up at the front line with Fortebraccios in the back. Fortebraccios are moving forward and should do good protection against the winged hussars, but getting rained on by the prefecture archers, probably the strongest unit out from BCCW right now. Those prefecture archers literally doing work. Look at them cut down Medaus and halberdiers so fast. I mean, Medaus and Fortebraccios so fast. And that is a wrap. It wasn't the cavalry, it was the unexpected prefecture archers raining hell with that arrow rain. Yeah, just Shenji grenades need a hit count nerf. One grenade knocked down how many units? Like that looked like 5 units. 5 units. Like a Medal, a 3 different halberdier units, and something else. It was like four. It was at least 4 units. The really cool thing right now is that those prefecture archers are almost 100% safe because it is very hard to treb up there, and there is actually a full stop block that doesn't allow people or the attackers to get in there and kill those archers. So the arrow rain, the Shenji grenades actually also come screaming down. Look at the amount of range power, but the front line here is being broken down not by the units, although they are doing an amazing job. This Daggerek Lancer is still alive, but it is the arrow rain coming out from those prefecture archers that are doing the most work. I wouldn't be surprised. Whoever's controlling those, that is that is the most surprising. That is the most surprising unit that comes out huge for the defenders. It wasn't the Daggerak Lancers. It wasn't any of the cavalry. The infantry comes in late, and the true unit that really clutched it for BCCW here at the very end was the prefecture archers. I'm not going to lie to you. I see why the top teams bring a prefecture archer now. Because they're very cost effective. And again, Arrow Rain on prefecture archers is a little bit different from the Doctrine version of Arrow Rain, which reduces their piercing damage by 65%. Arrow Rain on the prefecture archers are default 100%. It just purely doubles the attack speed of prefecture archers, and these maidens probably cleared up a lot as well. I don't doubt that the infantry or the Daggerek Lancers or any of the other units did a really good job. But if I want to point out a unit and say that is the unit that really changed the tide, the prefecture archers did. Double prefecture archers during the first push, one prefecture archer during the second push, and man, you did even with less numbers on the front. This is the whole point. Even with less numbers on the front, the prefecture archers more than made up for the damage for the front that allowed the units on the ground to not only gain an advantage, but sweep out the enemy. Easily. Easily sweep out the enemy. The Daggerak Lancers, the polearm units were so low on health after getting shot up, the Daggerak Lancers just rolled right over them. I mean, cavalry does a lot of damage, but sometimes, or currently in the current balance anyway, polearm units, very, very tough for cavalry to kill, particularly charging wise. That's against halberdiers. That's against halberdiers only. But it's huh? Who bring? BZZW brought prefecture archers in that fight just now. Prefecture archers from BZZW wiped G&G's attack not once but twice. The good thing here as well is that people are recognizing, yeah, obviously, you want the best archer unit to have the glaive to go do more damage. Damage. Double buff from glaive? I don't think there's a second buff. Remember, there's no runes in CBL. Hey, I'm gonna tell you seriously. I was surprised at how effective the prefecture archers really were, because I you had to see it to believe it, and you watched that arrow rain back again every single time. The first time there was 2 prefecture archers. The second time there was only 1. But if you count on those prefecture archers for damage, you can hell of a be sure that they are ripping right through that front line. There are no shields protecting. There are no shields protecting majority of that formation because the shields are not on the front or not at the position to block the arrows. Oh man, Hailung Fjord, man. Hailung Fjord is the bane of Japanese players or teams in this case. But they love it. They love it. They don't like playing. They don't like playing Harbor City. Apparently, they banned it. But that's the thing. The Scorpion or the Mortar came in too late. The suppression of those prefecture archers was way too late. They already achieved their job. They melted the front line. I have a sheet that tells you how fast a prefecture archer fires. And they fire ridiculously fast. Like, they fire 0.4 arrows a second. And that doubles to 0.8 when in arrow rain. You're getting shot by 28 of them, by the way. And I'm going to be honest with you. Against a Madao, roughly around about, let's say, 700 damage. You're getting hit for 700 damage every point 8 or whatnot. Like, man, it's a bit hard. Basically, every second, you're gonna get hit by, you're basically getting hit by 600 damage every second. So, how long until a Madao dies? That's probably less than 15 seconds. Probably 15 seconds, I would say. Arrow Rain lasts for around about 10 seconds, but my goodness, the damage output dropping an entire Madao, or at least low enough for other units to kill it, the Halberdier unit would instantly evaporate because getting shot with prefecture archers, they would take almost full damage at like 1,000. They would drop in less than 10 seconds. That halberdier unit, an entire halberdier unit would just die. Oh yeah, forgot. At when they have height advantage, ranged units get like 10% more damage or some bullshit, and um 10% more damage or 10% more damage and higher crit, or like just able to headshot, because that's a thing. Because that's a thing. So they're melting right through your like unshielded units. And buffed by the glaive, don't forget, buffed by the glaive is also increasing their damage by another 15%. Oh man. Huh? Oh, like, shield units cover enough of the front where you have to get over, and most of the time, uh, ranged units aim for the center of the body. So most of the time, even if they're shooting from up high, they hit the front of the shield. They hit the shield as long as they're facing towards you, even from up high. If they were directly above, maybe there's enough, or inaccuracy would cause them to hit the head instead. There's a lot of gimmicky things. Nonetheless, oh, I mean, archers having an arc actually is very beneficial in this case, because they will more than likely shoot above and actually hit directly. So there's that. I am just shocked. Shocked. I thought BCTW was going to get defeated. Shocked. Well, I tell you, what's the reversal from the prefecture archers? The number of units, I would say BCCW was down when going into the base fight, was roughly 3 or 4 units. And that's being nice. That's being nice. They could have lost up to 7. I mean, like, there was a bunch of surf units, so I mean, like, I gotta give them benefit of the doubt. It was actually close. It was actually probably closer to 3. We have one more match, Earspon. We have one more match. I think. The Glaive buff stacks 2 times. I don't remember that being a thing. I don't remember that being a thing. Yeah, like, that's the first time for me as well. I do not remember Glaive buff stacking twice. There would be way more Glaives if that stacked twice. So again, GNG goes really heavy on the tier 5s. Heilong Fjord defense for GNG right now. Prefecture archers. 2 prefecture archers again. Keep an eye on, see how they do on the attack. I think on the attack it's going to be a little bit more difficult to utilize them. But we got quite a few shield maidens. About 5 shield maidens for both sides, actually. 6 shield maidens, actually, from GNG. Oh, 6 shield maidens from both sides, actually. Glaives, my dude. Your buff. Your buff. Very surprising to see them come in on a unit that actually has massive impact at that one time. And I'm probably never going to let this down. This will probably be the one of the few times that a low tier unit actually shines. And it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant that the Prefecture Archers gets this moment. I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. Majority of players from BCCW on that B side probably looking to break through the B side really fast as they set up for the A side. I would seriously consider whether or not a rush towards the B point could actually offset GNG's pace for the defense in order to get the A point instead. Remember, a lot of good teams will able to respond to a sudden B side push. Therefore, your real goal should be the A point. Yeah, I'm with Obi-Wan Kenobi on this one. I don't think the Glaive God of War buff stacks. Well, the first time I've heard of it, and first time I've like learned about it. There was a rune that used to give damage reduction for when you for when you use Heat of Battle or God of Battle, and it stacked up to 2 times. You could be talking about that, but that was like 2 seasons ago. Yeah. So yeah, not what we're talking about. Like again, that had no reference to the actual to the actual God of Battle buff, which is the 15% more damage. That in no way in hell it stacks, because not only would it be impossible for the glaive player to get the 2 stacks on himself, you would have to use it in conjunction with other glaive players, which would also be just straight up OP. Because with 2 glaive players, you can alternate the buffs. One buffs the other one, and when it ends, you just buff again. And you can keep that buff perpetualized because it only takes 2 glaives to do that. You would just see seeing 15 glaives. Just 15 glaives. And it will be what? 15 times 15, that would be like 100 that would be like 175% extra damage. Oh my god. How fast people would just start dying. I would imagine just one flying reaper just kills an entire unit. Falco's one shot siege towers. Now, literally you would just be watching Glaive Heroes just one shot units with Flying Reaper, and you just see Flying Reapers everywhere. Right into a swing for the B point. It was actually an impressive swing, although I wasn't commentating at this time. They swung for the front, they swung to the back, and they're sweeping out as we speak. Nice bait towards the A point. Most of the GNG players are actually distracted there on the A point as the swift pile of Axe Raider and Shield Maidens cleans up the B section. How GNG responds will be interesting against this very, very fast pile. And by the looks of it, not very well on the A side either. The response on the A side was a bit weak and wasn't able to shut them completely out. So there's actually a bit of a loss for GNG. BCCW is kind of up big, and the battle on the B point is still raging on. The Varangian Guards fighting into a Halberdier unit will eventually die. There's no chance, again. A Varangian Guard is strong, but you're walking straight into a brace formation. You know how much damage that is? The axes from the Varangian Guards only do around about 3,500 damage. The Halberdier units do 2k damage. The Halberdier Sergeants do around about 2.3k damage. And that's while in phalanx, of course. But seriously, it is very comparable, and come on. They're gonna crush you. for a unit that's way cheaper than you, they're going to crush you because of their longer range. Surprisingly, GNG manages to shut out BZZW. I didn't get to see the rest of the B side fight. I do think in the long run, I do think in the long run, BZZW is up in units. So probably maybe 1 or 2 units right now. We could see a much larger margin if we kept track of which unit died and which unit died. G&G is kind of being very aggressive right now as time ticks down, and as they should, as a tier 5 setup majority, they really want to end it here, and it will be in a major fight. The problem here is that B point is massively capped right now. About 5, maybe 10 seconds solo will get that off real quick. So getting those prefecture archers blasted into the face there, definitely not what you want to see. You don't want to get hit with that grape shot. We got halberdiers coming around, getting poked here. Winged Hussars could charge, sweep them off, although wasn't very effective against that halberdier unit, I have to say. Oh, Daggerrack Lancers are coming through. Does break through the F1 Fortebraccio. GNG's formation is breaking down. There's no one defending the A point right now. And the response is a Winged Hussar straight into Fortebraccios, which is completely ineffective as it just dies. GNG might just lose it here. If they lose the A point, their entire defense might just break down. They're losing more and more units, and I would say BZZW increases their lead by an additional 3 units. Now 4. This is bad. This is very, very bad. A sacrifice for the A point is the last ditch effort for GNG, and I would go for it because if they cannot, this is their moment because you've already sacrificed way too much to end it here, and the halberdier formation is getting locked in. Get on point, dies instantly, and the A point has been captured. Oh man. Unable to break through the brace units, and it is sad that GNG has basically no hope now of defending. The lead is incredibly big. I mean, look at the lead. It is insane. Now sending one person to each of the points while GNG needs to concentrate on defeating whatever's left. 2 more minutes on the B point, 1 more minute on the harbor. That is 5 minutes of holding that C point. Good time for BBZW to make use of their big advantage, big unit advantage. The sad reality here is that even though they're gonna try, I do think GNG's got a real uphill battle to chew through. Basically, it's still a full setup. This is like a full setup with just serfs. I've seen some terrific battles, but I've never seen a battle where you run in with serfs and you win in a battle against pure power like this. We got 3 berserkers coming through as well. Got lots of Medal Shenjis. We got Daggerrack Lancers out on the field. I think I saw a Monastic Knight as well. Good luck, GNG. You got Shield Maidens, 2 sets of Shield Maidens. I think one's half-ass. 3 sets of Shield Maidens, 1 Halberdier unit, 1 Fire Lance, Northern Lance Cavalry. Gotta try your best. Your best shot is to kill the heroes, but C point is gonna get captured. That's an additional 2 minutes. You're gonna have to hold that base point for 6 minutes. Almost 6 minutes, less than 6 minutes. But there ain't enough serfs in your army to slow down this tide. Massive retreat. Way too late to call a retreat. You're going to get some tail end caught. I think, or unless they let you go. They do not. Instead, you're going to have to turn around as they catch up. They trip the section. Not a bad idea to preemptively trip, but you just shoot yourself in the foot there. 5 minutes left to go. GNG not only has to hold off against superior units, but superior numbers as well. I'm pretty sure that GNG is only down to 14. I think someone's permadeath from GNG. We've got only 4 arty left for GNG, and that's a massive treb. You're going to lose quite a bit of your... Quite a bit. Man, that massive treb just slams right into your halberdier line, and that was painful to watch. Your surf units will not stand long against his prefecture archers, and I'm about to say this, that the prefecture archers could clean you up by themselves as long as the prefecture archers are allowed to fire. But nevertheless, Shenji Grenade comes in, smashes straight into the defense pikemen. Halberdiers haven't set up yet. They're trying to get an angle in, but here comes some more trebs. Waiting Star comes through, roars through, gets slowed a bit, but still very effective against halberdier units. More effective than any other cavalry. But the grape shots, the prefecture archers, look at them go! Double halberdiers just collapses at those prefecture archers, just fire on through. We got a cleanup crew from the shield maidens as they cleaned up their front line there. I think it was just a Fortebraccio. But the grape shots, the prefecture archers, and just everything else does look like it's just heroes coming out from GNG. This will spell the end for the mighty defenders as they fight to the last man. Go short sword, he gets caught, and bye-bye. No units coming out from GNG, but they hop over. Whoa! Oh my goodness, tried your best to hop over that formation into the center and just instantly eviscerates himself. But the fire is too intense, coming out from just tier 3 ranged units, just spelling doom. BCTW, your performance at the beginning was a little bit scary because I honestly thinking you the underdog here, but you have definitely shown yourselves to be the top dog against GNG. And I will have to say, your setup or usage of ranged units right now, it was the key to your victory. I'm not going to say it was good or anything, but the fact that you brought them, the fact that you were able to make good use of them, well done. Very rare is it that the ranged units are the focus. And now and here, we saw the prefecture archers, a tier 3 unit, by the way, not only clapped super hard for your defense, also securing your victory on the attack. Again, gonna have to put it down to the fact that your infantry still did amazingly well for your attack. But that defense, I honestly thought you were on the back foot. So, well done, BZDW, and congratulations. Congratulations on moving along. You will get to have to fight. I think you will have to fight off. IGN. You're gonna have to fight off IGN in order to get into the. Yeah. I think you fight IGN. Sorry. Well, okay. We watched BPJT versus IGN. Wait. You're gonna face off against BPJT. Sorry. Yeah. We're in the losers bracket. Sorry. You're going to have to fight off against BPJT in order to then fight whoever loses between CNC and YYY. And then, and only then, will the winner of the losers bracket will be determined. So, we got to watch BPJT versus ING, with BPJT winning 2-0 on Harbour City, and then following that we saw a amazing reversal at the base point on Heilong Fjord against GNG attacking BCCW, with BBCW winning 2-0 in the end with a very strong attack. So there is not very many days left of the CBL, and we are clocking down to the finals. But not tomorrow, on Wednesday, we're going to get BPJT versus BZZW. I don't think BZZW have what it takes to defeat BPJT, but they have shown me up on GNG, so maybe they're going to pull out something from their ass and beat BPJT. Maybe. I have no idea. Following that, we have the finals of the winners bracket. So this will decide who wins, who is the champion of the winners bracket between CNC and YYY. And that's all on Wednesday. Then we'll get the finals of the losers bracket, and then we're going to see the absolute finals where the winners of the winners bracket fight off against the against the winners of the losers bracket. So, I'm Let's do channel point vote. I don't know how to do that. I need to ask someone how to do that, but this is the fight for the top. Actually, no. The remaining participants are top 4. BPJT. So they've secured their spot in top 4. BPJT, BZZW, CNC, and YYY. They are the top 4. These are the top 4. We're heading into the quarterfinals, then we're going to go into the semifinals, and then we're going to go into the finals final. I think. It's very confusing. So, there is a quarterfinals match, then there's a semifinals match, and then there's a semifinals match, and then there's the finals match. So, good luck. Yeah, ask someone. But that is going to happen over the next few days, and it's going to be very, very, very interesting to see what we can expect from every single one of these remaining teams, because they have shown themselves to be the strongest of Asia Division tournament now, or is it split? I mean, like, it's still technically the Asia Division tournament, which combines teams from the Asia servers and the China mainland in the Asia Division tournament. So combining the tournament, normally there would be a separate tournament. So it's just the Asia Division. So all of Asia this time, including China mainland. But nevertheless, I hope you guys enjoyed my commentary. I will be watching the rest of the CBL on the Wednesday, and then following that, Thursday and Friday for the finals to decide who is the champion. But until then, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. But nevertheless, my name's Azukai. Have a nice day. Bye for now.